BPod Studios.
Toucher and Hardy.
Such an fantastic explosion.
98.5, the Sports Hub.
Engulfed by Boston and the Chargers defensively. Now you've got some late pushing and shoving. A guy gets into it with the nicest guy in the NFL and about the nicest guy anywhere, Matthew Slater.
Matthew's like, hey, take your hands off me, buddy. 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 Your hands off me, buddy.
How do I say goodbye? My allergies start acting up a little bit. He might have the rap skills. The good time that made us laugh. Man, we're about to have a good Bible study right now. You can't buy these. You got to earn these. My wife and I, we're going to go in the lab and do some work. We'll have to let you know how that goes. We do have some new members in the congregation. Help them out. What's up, how's done? Yeah. Buffalo, yeah. Right. Snow, yeah. Wind, yeah. Seasonal allergies there.
Matthew, hi.
How are you, sir?
I'm Fred. Are you going to NASA while you're here in Houston?
I haven't planned on it.
Are you pissed off because you're brilliant? And that you want to go to NASA?
You know, I'm just a regular guy.
What is the highest level of Dungeons & Dragons that you've achieved?
Never played it.
Are you lying?
I'm not lying.
I tried. Young Nicholas putting that together as Matthew Slater has retired to our Toucher and Hardy. Hardy's not here. We're brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. The seasonal allergies. Zolak just ripping it off from me. Just full bore.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Just ripping off the impression. Just boom.
It was an homage, Fred.
It's a hack move. Let's be honest.
You think that was an homage?
Yeah. No, I think it was a blatant stealing. But and so yesterday I was surprised because if you ever wanted evidence that football has gotten maybe too popular, is that yesterday I just assumed, because like when he retired, look, the Patriots have been the story in this city for 20 years. The story, like really the story, like above everything, not just in sports, but really kind of everything. I don't see anyone as unified, like in social media, as like an avatar of Belichick drinking the orange juice. Jeff Howe is to blame for that. Mm-hmm. Like it really has been the thing. So I understood at 10:05 or whatever, 10 o'clock when he announced his retirement, that, you know, that was going to be on the midday show and everything else. But I didn't expect the wave of national reporters and national radio people to talk about a special teams player retiring.
Adam Schefter.
All right. So, Dan, you have...
Well, we sat in our post-show meeting yesterday, and it was almost... I didn't even have to refresh my Twitter feed. It just kept coming and coming and coming. The people that were just like, oh, my goodness, what happened? Like, literally, what happened? And it was all effusive praise for this gentleman.
Yeah, there were all, like, these... And so, like, on National Sports Talk Radio, they were in their updates talking about Matthew Slater retiring. Now, this is why you retire when he retired, is because... He picked, you know, the NBA's on. I mean, he did it on purpose.
Dead time in sports.
Oh yeah, he did it entirely on purpose. I mean, it's smart.
He Waldick James Ferentz, big time.
What, no. James Ferentz?
Yes.
Didn't he retire yesterday?
Offensive lineman announced his retirement.
All right,
the day before.
Well, okay, yeah. So he did. He Waldicked James Ferentz. Yeah, he took that away from him. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you just showed. I mean, the idea that we're talking about a gunner on special teams. And really, I don't remember anything that he did. There's nothing that I particularly remember. But
he picked up a blocked J.C. Jackson punt and ran it in for a touchdown, his one touchdown.
Okay, and you recall everyone in NFL history that's done that. So there was all these calls like he's a for sure Hall of Famer. And so at first, because I've always felt this way, I thought, well, no, he shouldn't be. There's two reasons. One, if he was any good at football, he wouldn't have been a gunner. Is that, like, literally if he had any proficiency at any other position, almost literally any other position, he wouldn't have been doing what he was doing. And then B, no one else in the history of the league, I can assure you, will ever be in the Hall of Fame at this position because it's an antiquated position, because they don't return kicks anymore. Like a kick returner will never make the Hall of Fame again because you don't return kicks. Devin Hester won't exist anymore. Devin Hester was it. Like
they slipped him in under the wire. He's the first and last.
He is the first and last. And so if Slater makes it as a gunner, he will be the last gunner ever. And you can say that with every level of certainty because they mic'd him. But so long story longer. So I have all these reasons he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. But then I thought about it and I'm like, what am I going to say tomorrow? And I thought, nothing. I don't care. Like if he makes the Hall of Fame, great. The Hall of Fame, the Football Hall of Fame, who cares? And second of all, if everyone says he's this great, then I guess he is. I'll take your word for it. I can't tell. I'm not paying any attention.
He's the best ever to do what he does.
Yeah, and then third of all, the Patriots.com mic'd him up in the last game that he played against the Jets. Everyone knew it was his last game, and it was sort of sweet. Like everyone was real nice to him, and if the other NFL players like him so much, and he's apparently this great guy, even though he denies playing Dungeons and Dragons, which is unfair to Wallach.
Yeah, I was kind of hoping I had a kindred spirit there. That wasn't nice.
But if they want to let him in the Hall of Fame, let him in the Hall of Fame. Like I'm not going to sit on Boston Sports Radio the day after the man announces his retirement if he's this beloved and campaign against him.
It really is amazing, because all of it's about like what a great leader he is and all that. He's a great leader who saw the game, at least, or saw the field at least like a half a dozen times a game.
Well, if you look at the highlights,
he was hardly ever on the field.
So the highlights from the last game against the Jets, and again, it's well done, but it's him before the game with his family and talking to like Aaron Rodgers and stuff, and the people giving him.
Aaron Rodgers said he was Hall of Famer.
Yeah, and everything he says is
he would
is
know.
dead on.
He would know.
And but then it's him on the bench during the game, and it's the sound of his pads rustling as he runs down the field because no one returns a kick in the game. And there is a scene where there is a fair catch called. Like there's no reason to have this audio for you. There's a fair catch called, and one of the guys on the sideline tells him that was out of respect for you that they called the fair catch. So I guess congratulations.
So it's basically Matthew Slater running 50-yard dashes.
Not basically. That's what he's doing.
That's what.
There's
a moment to bump of someone aside while you're running.
There's a moment where there's on a punt return. He makes contact with Anthony Clemens, I think, from the Jets, and Clemens like jokingly says, like, "Cut it out." Like, stop it.
What are you doing?
Like, they made contact.
What are you doing? We're all down here trying not to get hurt.
Well, you worked with Flynn. I mean, Mike Flynn was the greatest ever at telling you stories about how little those guys cared at the end of the season. That it was just self-preservation.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Flynn had the story about being in a preseason game against Ted Washington. And there was a rookie playing next to him. Flynn was a center, and there was a guy playing guard. And the guard, did a cut block on Ted Washington. And they got back in the huddle, and everyone was like, are you out of your mind? You're going to piss him off.
Kill us.
Like, Ted Washington is obviously not trying. He has the ability to try 5 plays a game. And he's going to double that effort now because you're pissing him off. Like, could you mind stopping? And they're talking to Ted Washington, like, when they got back to the line, like, don't worry, Ted. Like, you get back to not trying.
He doesn't know what he's doing.
Like, you get back to not trying. Yeah. Like everyone, we're all in agreement that we're not going to try. So, look, I didn't want to get on the. I actually had the moment where I said, why should I get on the Boston radio to the sports station everyone listens to and tell everyone the guy shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame? I feel I have 2 reasons why, but then at the end of the day, I'm not going to campaign against it. If everyone wants him in the Hall of Fame, let him in the Hall of Fame. What's it matter to me? I'm never going to go to Canton, Ohio. I don't know anyone who's in the Hall of Fame, so it doesn't cheapen anything for them. I don't know anyone who hasn't gotten into the Hall of Fame that thinks they should be in the Hall of Fame personally. So let them in. Look, like ESPN Radio during their updates were saying, longtime Patriot Matthew Slater has retired from the NFL. I mean, if this is news, then A, we're following the NFL far too closely, and B, let it happen. Good.
The best part is fans who say, oh, of course he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
You don't know.
You have no idea.
No.
about
No,
gunners.
you weren't a fan of
Special
Matthew Slater.
Honest to God, all you know was he was generally first down the field on a fair catch to make a tackle.
No, you didn't watch Matthew
but
Slater.
You have no clue whether or not he's a Hall of Famer. All of your evidence has been culled from the people that have been interviewed about him.
Have been interviewed about him and his role as a leader on the team that you know from so closely following the team and the team being followed through a microscope. If this was by the way, if he played for the Patriots in like the 80s, you would have no idea who this guy was. Unless you were like the world's biggest fan. Like I know the gunner for the Jets because they signed him in free agency and they made a big deal about it. But I don't recall the only time I've ever seen him do anything in a Jets game was during that piece they did for Patriots.com because he goes up to Slater and says he's responsible for his career. So I just know they signed the guy, but I don't know what the hell the guy does. Because if you went by the highlights of Slater's last game, Ryan said he does the 50-yard dash, and then it's over. Everything's a touchback, or everything's a fair catch.
But it's an interesting point you bring up about this, making a longer story longer. That if he played for the Patriots in the 80s when they were wearing the red uniforms and not winning anything, would he be nearly as popular?
No.
Would he be Hall of Fame material?
No. Because he doesn't even have like a Don Beebe moment where he
runs down
Leon Lett. That's like one of the most famous plays in NFL history. Which it really is one of the most famous plays in NFL history.
That's the other thing. Tasker, who was a 7-time Pro Bowler.
Oh, Tasker is the guy who ran him down.
No, Beebe was the guy who ran him
down. Yeah.
But Tasker, who was a 7-time Pro Bowler, was in his prime when the Bills were going to the Super Bowl.
They went to the Super Bowl 4 years in a row, and that's how
people know
Tasker.
Tasker. So
right. No. If any gunner even if you played 16 years for a mediocre team that went to a Super Bowl, like a Super Bowl, no, you would have no idea who he is, and there would be no talk of him going to the Hall of Fame. But the reality is, he was on a multi-Super Bowl team, a team that won a lot of Super Bowls and had a lot of success. And if everyone on that team thinks he's the greatest, sure.
Red jacket, no doubt.
Well, of course.
Fit that man for a red jacket. Patriots Hall of Fame first year in, and he will be yet another guy that keeps Bill Parcells out. Write it down.
Yeah, you could make the argument that Parcells had a little more effect on the team than Matthew Slater.
Just a touch, but they're going to keep Parcells out and put him in.
Because if you recall, Matthew Slater was listed in your program a lot of times as a wide receiver. Like, if you looked at the depth chart on ESPN.com, he would be in the 5th grouping of wide receiver. And I will contend, if at any point in his career he had the ability to play wide receiver, they would have most certainly played him at wide receiver and removed him completely from the kick team.
Yeah, there were games where they literally had like 1 or 2 healthy receivers left, and he still wasn't lining up at wide receiver.
Yes, I mean, we had, like Dan just said in my ear, we had Troy Brown in studio.
Yep. By the way, Troy Brown available again. Maybe we can have him on.
I thought he took a lesser job.
Is he staying?
Yeah, no.
I know they hired a new wide receivers coach.
No, they announced that he is staying, but his title has not yet been determined.
Yeah,
okay,
it could be kick returner coach in that, I guess, that, or whatever you want to call it, the guy who specializes in helping the kick returners. Harry, go ahead. Harry calls it a lot.
No, I don't. They won't put me on.
It says, but you call in. I didn't say you're on the air.
Yeah, all right. So you got any guy that plays in the NFL for 18 years, I say he's in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely. That's a great point. Because that's why you go to the Hall of Fame, longevity, no question about it.
All those punters that lasted 18 years.
No, yeah. I think you're right, Harry. That was a well thought out point.
No, you won't let me finish, will you?
I wouldn't dare.
I know you wouldn't dare. But the guy played 18 years. I don't care. He had the uniform. He's on 18 years. You think they said after year 10 the guy's not really good, but we got to keep him around. He's good to all the players like him. They like him because of his longevity. That takes a talent. Just like you got a talent for the radio. He had a talent for running up and down the field.
Well, it would be like the equivalent would be like I have a talent for like moving the levels on the board. I would be the quarterback boy if you were Harry. If you were talking about my role here at the station, I'd be Tom effing Brady.
No, you
Harry,
wouldn't.
can I ask you a question? Why would you say that I would be afraid of letting you finish your statement that you just made? What about that would scare the host?
No, that's how talk radio is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I say the Red Sox is like 67. Let's see what happens.
All right, now you're boring. But I really want to know why Harry thought, like, I wouldn't let him, other than him being boring, like, why I would be afraid to let him finish his point.
I don't have an answer to that.
Like, now you've stated that Slater should be in the Hall of Fame, and he goes, because he played for 18 years. And then you go.
Very controversial.
And then you go, all right, well, that was dumb. And then he goes, well, you won't let me finish. And you go, well, okay, then finish. And he goes, well, he played for 18 years.
See,
I mean, these are some of the legends of the game. Fred, who 239 career games for Matthew Slater, ranks in the top 90 all time.
Yep.
in NFL history, with people like Jerry Fontenot, Chris Moore, Lorenzo Neal, Andrew Whitworth, all Hall of Famers.
Moore's a punter, right?
That most of them are.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's tough to play 18 years in there, 16 years in the league when you're getting hit.
Yeah, exactly. when there's contact. Yeah, I would imagine that makes it more difficult. All right, Lorenzo Neal.
Yeah.
All right.
239 games.
Take Nate, real quick.
Lend
one.
I don't want to. No. I don't want to.
Okay.
All right, we'll be back. John's getting over his skis here. Starting to tell me to take phone calls.
Just a suggestion. You didn't have to.
The guy just says he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, which is kind of like I don't need backup on that.
Okay.
I mean, of course he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, but again, I'm not going to campaign against the guy. Let him have his day, and if everyone who knows everybody thinks he should be in the Hall of Fame, then maybe he should be. That's my big sports talk radio take. Maybe Harry's right. Put Lorenzo Neal in too. Anyone who's worn the uniform for that long. And I don't think anyone's saying, Harry, that he was bad. I'm just saying that he wasn't good enough to play any other position. I'm saying he was probably incredible at what he did. But the idea that I knew what he was doing is not accurate. And neither did you. You were not watching Slater, except for when he was called in the broadcast, made a point of talking to him. I don't think the touchbacks on the kickoffs and to start the second half.
He ran through the end zone first.
Were the most exciting things to happen on the field that day.
He was the first one there.
I mean, there's a lot of boring Patriots games, but even in the most boring, Week 17 included, or Week 18 or whatever the hell it is now, included, touchbacks were not the most excited part of the game.
But you're discounting all of the punts that he downed inside the 5-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
I was mistakenly giving the credit to the punters on those. But I guess
somebody's got to get down there and get it before it bounces into the end zone.
He was doing stuff I couldn't do. And he's very muscular. Even at his advanced age, he was very muscular. Sort of like the keystering guy at the antique store. All right. We'll be back with our emails that you have sent to us.
BackstageCountry.com, your online home for all things country music. Award-winning movies often have incredible soundtracks, and many of those have gone on to become country gold. We've picked our top 5 country songs that have been nominated for an Oscar. Text Oscar to 45911 to see if your favorite made the list on BackstageCountry.com. Text Oscar to 45911 and we'll send the link straight to your phone.
It's the all-new way for you to wake up. Toucher and Hardy on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You know, I got an idea for a bit. The email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
All right, so your witnesses, I just praised Nick off the air.
Yes, you did.
All right, so because now I'm going to read an email that's insulting.
I have one too. It insults him also.
Yeah, because he's very sensitive to insults. But you heard me just praising him off the air. Yep. So I won't say why. Because what he's doing well is what ultimately is going to help this company.
Yes.
So he's probably pretty savvy to learn the skills that he's developing. If you go to our Instagram, he's making these really good videos at Toucher and Rich. At Fred Hardy. Toucher and Hardy, sorry. I mean, I think Toucher and Rich would probably throw you to Toucher and Hardy. But at Toucher and Hardy. And It's not the last time I'm making that mistake, by the way. It's 17 years of saying the same shit.
I typed it twice yesterday in an email.
And Hardy's not even here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you want out of me? I mean, this was the show, basically, with Ryan in December. I mean,
true.
And
The three of us just hanging out.
Yeah, since November 10th, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Jesus, we're working on 4 months. So anyway, if you look at these videos, like they're really good videos. So Nick is doing a great job with these videos, and I assume this is because I was telling Nick that like I don't consume anything by anyone in the Joe Rogan universe. Like I don't listen to their podcasts. I don't think they're particularly good comedians. Like I don't care. But when I open up YouTube,
it's a surprise to hear that because you're like amateur MMA guy and the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm really into. I take jiu-jitsu. I'm into all of it. But I take saunas and then go right into the cold water because that's how you live forever.
Cold tub.
Yeah, exactly. But I'll credit them because the minute that I get on YouTube, I don't even dislike them. I just don't care about them. Right? Like I can't care about everything, and like I can't like every comedian. I like Mulaney and Kroll. I like those guys. But the minute I open up YouTube, because I'm a 49-year-old white guy, I mean, it is Tom Segura, and I can't even remember the guy with the shirt off. We've had it on the show, too. Bert Kreischer. It is them wall to wall. So, yes, I would imagine that you would want to focus on these videos. Anyway, so I was praising Nick, but here we go to insult him. This is not me, though. I don't know who this is from. It says, hey, Fred, I'm glad you said the email specifically about Nicholas. Did I? As I've been curious about his role for a while, what is Nick's actual job? As a podcast listener, I can tell you that it is riddled with mistakes almost daily. Segments cut off at the wrong time. Sometimes breaks are repeated, and we get to hear them twice. The other day, the stack was skipped completely, etc., etc. I also you constantly tell him to answer the phones. That is true. Something that Bird was able to handle even with his movie watching responsibilities. Bird was not able to handle answering the phones. And if you don't know what he's talking about, Bird brought in basically a home entertainment system to entertain him during the show that he was being paid to sit in. I'm sure Nick spends a lot of time keeping the boys out of the yard due to his milkshake. And we know that he takes multiple poops during the show. That is true. The man does have moves his bowels a lot during the show. But what do you actually pay him to do, and is he any good at any of it? Love the new show. The addition of Hardy has been everything I was hoping for. John, Jon. I don't know if that's ironic or true. Nick
John and Natick? Is that John? No? The Jon email?
Yeah. It's John wanting to go behind the scenes to insult Nick. There's no pecking, though. You can tell this was typed with fingers.
Sure. Full name is John T. Eagle.
Exactly. Right. It's eyebrows McGee. But I'll tell you, Nick does a lot, and I apologize for how crappy the podcast is, but that is part of his responsibilities. But I would argue that Nick's job is kind of like the future here a little bit because he knows how to make the videos. All right, this just says stupid bird, so I'm going to click on it.
Okay.
Tell John to stop forcing your McCarthy voice. You're the pro, and you know when to break it out. Caw. That's from a concerned listener. Thank you for being concerned.
Yeah, I'm forcing you.
All right, and then finally, Jeremy says this just came in. This just came in a couple minutes ago. Slater is Nick Gemelli. Again, I'm just reading this off the top of my head. So if I swear or say something racist.
Okay. All right.
It's not on me.
What do you have in front of you there?
Someone that, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm reading it.
Right.
So for the first time, someone that hangs around for 18 years, give or take, on one of the highest ranked radio shows, put him in the Radio Hall of Fame. I actually like Slater and think he should be in the Hall of Fame because he did he was asked to do well enough that they kept him. As meaningless as the position has become, but I'm not passionate enough about it. I feel the same way, Jeremy. I really thought about it, and I actually maybe am turning over a new leaf because I said I don't want to actively get on the air in his hometown or the town he played football in.
Yes.
And campaign against the guy being in the Hall of Fame because I don't care passionately enough about it. So let him in the Hall of Fame as far as I'm concerned. Go ahead, John. What do you got?
All right. This is not just about Nick. It's about you, too.
I like it.
This is from Riz, the Twitch guy. Riz. I called in twice to defend you yesterday, but no one picked up the phone.
Well, that is an issue. I don't know. We don't take a lot of phone calls on the show, but I would like the phone answered.
So
and I will go so far as to say if you did this on the midday or afternoon show, did not answer the phones, that the reaction on the air, especially from Felger and Bertrand, would be catastrophic.
Yes,
right,
I would
ahead.
agree. The Twitch fam does not complain about your hat. We do love your sweatshirt choices. They are a bit big, but I look forward to seeing what hoodie you might have on. My favorite hoodies, the Montreal Experts one. Fred does not know what he's talking about. 1 minute he hates Twitch. The next minute he's saying what we say on Twitch, but we never really said that. F it, Fred.
I don't look at Twitch. I wouldn't know. All I know is that Nick, when we have certain people on the show, time is consumed with censoring comments on Twitch.
Yes, that part is true.
I know Twitch exists, and the goal is to get off of Twitch as soon as possible and get onto YouTube where this thing can actually be monetized.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to get back on television, quite frankly.
I'm sure that'll be on the table soon.
I don't know about that. No one watched us, but I would like it if they would like to hand me money again for doing nothing. That was kind of looking a gift horse in the mouth.
Were doing before.
Yeah, that was kind of looking a gift horse in the mouth.
It's not exactly that we changed clothing for this.
No, you didn't have to do anything.
No makeup, just showed up and did what we always do.
I didn't bathe any more frequently. Because right now it would be a pretty good paycheck for like ancillary money. It'd be like a teacher's salary.
Be nice. Wouldn't go on strike. No,
that
would be perfect.
I mean, Fowler did all the hard lifting. You notice how I'm directly mentioning behind the scenes guys, so maybe he'll politic for us.
It could be. I have an email here, and I always have to read one of these because I know you love it. Going to London, free airfare for you and the Eaglettes. Bird's eye view of Wimbledon. Love, Thomas.
He's saying that you're going to John
flying on wings instead of a plane. You see, because I'm a bird and the rest of my family are a bunch of birds.
You couldn't make it. No bird could make it over the Atlantic. I would have to imagine you'd have to be
tailwind, Fred,
or
tailwind.
You'd have to find vessels to perch on.
Yeah. Probably.
To take a load off.
Take a little bit longer than an actual airplane.
If John's going to London like I'm going to the moon, believe me, he ain't taking the family to London this summer.
Couple of things. This one from Matt. P1 here. Listen to the podcast to keep him connected to the life back home in New England. I live in Oakland, but moving to Seattle in a couple of months for work. The first time I ever heard of Marine Layer was from people in our Seattle headquarters. Is this sartorial choice the next step in John's Pacific Northwest persona, Marine Layer hoodies? John, if Fred gives you guff about that, you can tell him that in addition to your mother, you have a friend in Seattle too. Keep it up. Love, Matt.
Yeah, John is he took a trip to Seattle, so now he's like captain wearing Seattle stuff. Dan O'Brien is chomping at the bit. He wants to get involved.
Okay.
No, I just figured if you wanted to give out my email address, if people wanted to bombard me with bad things as well, they
absolutely. How do people get in touch with you, Daniel?
The D and then O'Brien, O'Brien at 985thesportshub.com.
D O'Brien at 985thesportshub.com.
Give me tips on sugar daddies or gentleman callers or anything
You're trying
like
to
that?
build something. This is a former co-host of the Tool Bag podcast.
Yeah, he's trying to get another guy.
I just don't want to be. If you want to, I'm part of the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
My email address out there. So if you want, to get in touch,
he's
the wealth, John. Yeah,
spread the wealth.
Yeah, we'll spread the wealth. Exactly. He's looking for another gentleman to take him to Hawaii, all expenses paid.
Go somewhere else.
He'd go anywhere
if you're paying.
Hawaii's already covered. I got that covered.
Yeah, he doesn't need to go to Hawaii. In fact, it would just be redundant.
Yeah.
Maybe take him to a nice snowy place, a little more cozy.
Yeah, Stowe.
Talking about fireplaces. Yeah, well, it would have been nice, I guess, if you were invited. All right, we will be back. We will have the stack for you coming right up. We will have all of that, and then we will do our famous crossover, and then I have an hour and a half to kill until I have an appointment down the street.
Long post-show meeting today.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Wonderful.
Absolutely. All right. We will have that all coming up for you in just a moment.
BackstageCountry.com, your online home for all things country music. Country music has so many generous artists who always seem to jump in to help those in need. We're spotlighting 5 who lead by example and lend a helping hand to charitable causes. See who made our list when you text GIVE to 45911. Text GIVE to 45911 and read all about it right now on BackstageCountry.com.
You've got Toucher and Hardy to wake you up no matter where you are.
Or who may or may not have been to jail.
Get the app. The 98.5 The Sports Hub app. We know what you're thinking. What could I possibly have missed from the show? It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. This hour of our show is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. There's a thing on the avclub.com that is the 25 something with Kiss. Who cares? It's like random and dumb, but they're on solid gold in 1981, and there's two things that I noticed.
Okay.
One, how is Andy Gibb so beautiful? When he has two brothers that are so horrendously ugly. Because two of the three Bee Gees, one is just a hirsute monster.
Yes,
the leader.
He's the lead singer, yes.
Yeah, Barry.
That was Barry.
Yes.
But then there's the bald guy who's not so ugly, but he just went bald at like 10.
Yeah.
And then there's the horse-toothed one that is the Baba Booey looking guy, Morris, who's just atrocious looking. And then you have then there's time that goes by, and then they have the Andy, right? Andy Gibb.
I think it's Andy Gibb wasn't part of the three.
No. He was like the younger one. He died
a solo guy.
He OD'd,
Right.
but he was a beautiful man.
Yes.
He hosted Solid Gold. And also, I will tell you this, is that Marty Cohen and his puppet Madam are on this one.
Oh, good.
Dressed as Kiss. And Marty Cohen, not a old man.
They put the makeup on Madam.
Yeah, but that's not the point. The point is Marty Cohen, the man who does the very vampy old lady marionette of Madam, is not an elderly gentleman. He is a man probably about 28 years old.
Must have been great at parties, that guy.
I got to tell you, that is a very niche thing.
My goodness.
Yeah, he is.
And that was a wild time.
I'm 28.
That was a crazy time.
Want to hear my impression of a 75-year-old woman?
It's just,
and the chicks came running.
And it's just like, and she vamps.
Got laid forever.
Oh,
that guy.
well, I mean, I don't know if that was his interest.
You know what? You have a point. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, I don't really know if that's what he was going for. All right, you have some draft analyses.
This one is from a guy by the name of Doug Farrar, who writes for USA Today. He evaluated Jaden Daniels. Pluses, responsible for 103 explosive plays last season. There really isn't a book on how to stop him at this point. Best deep throw in the draft class. Full field reader who can go from touchdown to check down and vice versa. Minuses. There is a Wile E. Coyote aspect to his predilection to take cartoonishly bad hits in the open field. Occasional delays in processing will have him making inaccurate throws.
If I can interject here, all right, then the first day you coach him, get him to stop doing that.
You could say
of all the negatives you would say about a kid, probably the best negative to have as your first negative is you're too willing to take a hit. I'll take that.
Well, part of the problem is you see quarterbacks that I understand
sure
the
have
problem.
been
told that over the year. Cam Newton for one,
I'm just
Lamar
saying,
Jackson for another.
I'll take that over slow, no arm, can't process, all those things. I mean, I'll take that he's willing to take hits above all of that.
And this more to what you were talking about, the last couple of sentences of his draft report is early first-round grade here. This is all subjective, but I can't think of a 2024 prospect I'd want more in my facility if I were a quarterback's coach.
All right, so everyone pretty much unanimously says that there's three elite quarterback prospects in this draft. And so certainly, if not elite, worthy of a top three pick. So the last mock draft that I saw, it might have been CBS, who knows, but it wasn't The Athletic and it wasn't ESPN, and it didn't have the Patriots taking a quarterback.
Darn it.
It doesn't really matter. So anyway, it doesn't. They're all the same.
Yeah.
So the guy has them taking Marvin Harrison, right?
Yep.
Which you go, okay, but then with the next pick, he has the team after them taking the wide receiver out of LSU.
Neighbors.
Neighbors. So my point is this. If you're not taking a quarterback, which is obviously the most important position in sports, if you're taking a wide receiver, the idea would be like this prospect is such a can't-miss guy. He's a generational prospect. There will never be another one like him. It's another 10 years before you're going to see a kid like this. And that's just not the case if the number 4 pick in the draft is going to be a wide receiver. That means that you believe there's two outstanding, phenomenal talents at wide receiver. And then, by the way, in everyone's mock draft, they have another receiver going in the top 10. So that's a position where there are 3 top 10 picks and it's not quarterback. Take a quarterback.
Yeah.
Take a quarterback. If there's 3 quarterbacks in the draft and 3 receivers in the draft, you take the quarterback.
I'm looking at another evaluation of Daniels by Louis Riddick of ESPN. He calls Daniels the best quarterback in the draft.
Louis Riddick, who could have been the GM of the Patriots, if they were willing. He's always a GM candidate. That Louis Riddick.
And in that mock draft, which was on NFL.com, Daniel Jeremiah is the guy who did it. That's the mock draft you're referencing. It has Daniels falling to 6 to the New York Giants.
Yeah, so if you're...
A.J. McCarthy, 8th to Atlanta.
Yeah, and so if you're a fan of the Patriots and they, reached at 8 for McCarthy, you might go, all right, well, they're just hell-bent on taking a quarterback. But if there's 3 universal top 5 candidates at quarterback and you're in desperate need of a quarterback and you take a wide receiver at 3 and then a wide receiver goes 4, that's ridiculous. I hope I'm making my point coherently. Again, receiver is not nearly as important or as difficult a position to fill on your team as quarterback. If there's 3 top 5 quarterbacks and 2 top 5 receivers, you take the quarterback.
No, I
Under no circumstances do you take that wide receiver. The only argument for taking the wide receiver would be this is the best receiver. This is Randy Moss. This guy's insane. There's no one else like him.
It's so rare you have one guy. He's going to be inside the top 10. If you grade out all the prospects, regardless
he would
of
be
position,
the number one
he's
prospect
the number
in the draft
one
by
prospect.
far.
Right, but since there are 2 quarterbacks, he has to fall to 3. But thank God we have the 3rd pick and take him. That shine is off a little bit if the next pick is a wide receiver.
Position.
He's not so far and away this athletic freak.
And why would you not trade out of that pick? Why would I take a wide? So the other reason was why would I keep the pick and take the wide receiver if there's 2 kids that have around the, even if it's a little off his talent, around his talent in the draft. Do you understand? There's no way I'd keep the pick.
Yes.
Then I'd trade it away. But why would I trade away the pick when hopefully I'll never be in this position again? You lucked into a top 3 pick when there happened to be 3 elite quarterback prospects. Under no circumstances should you not take the prospect. Why should another team get him? Why should you? To what?
Yeah.
To pick up a second-round pick?
It is never a sure thing for you to be bad and there to be a quarterback waiting for you.
Well, Chicago did it, and look, now they have the number 1 pick in the draft. Yeah, but Chicago had used the top 10 pick on Fields.
Well, I mean,
or a top 15 pick.
The only reason they got the number 1 pick again is because they traded for it. I mean,
no. That's what I'm saying is that, well, look at what happened to Chicago. And I'm like, yeah, but Chicago had a quarterback, they thought.
Right.
They'd already used a big asset to get one. Yep. All right, when we come back, we'll find out who's in. I see people walking around. Zolak's got this dog bite we're not supposed to talk about. Everything's going on. It's very exciting. We'll see who's in for the middays coming.
BackstageCountry.com, your online home for all things country music. Lainey Wilson is on a roll. She's delivering great music and teaming up with some of country's hottest acts. Text Lainey to 45911 to see which 4 Lainey Wilson collabs have us talking at BackstageCountry.com. Text Lainey to 45911 to get a link to the list sent right to your phone from BackstageCountry.com.
On the air.
Hey, Scott's here. I was very happy to see you. I'm not lying.
It's good to see you. I like your hat.
I got it at the Lions game.
It's a fitted hat, isn't it?
No. Snapback.
Oh, my God. We were in Vegas, and my kid likes hats, but he's got a head about as big as mine, so it's 7/8, 8. He's pushing an 8 at 14, especially with the hair. But he's got a lot of hair.
Yeah.
So I had to go everywhere to find a fitted hat. Like the Super Bowl this year didn't sell fitted hats, first time ever. Because normally you could find, like the flat brim fitted, like Patriots have them in a pro shop. They got the old models, they got the new models. So it's the snapback, and his head looks as stupid as mine does on a snapback. So I had to go over to Caesar's Palace to find a specialty store that did, and he had the old Patriots throwback one. So I got him a Patriot one.
Can your kid dunk?
No.
How tall is he?
He's 6'5".
Jesus. See, Milo can dunk.
Yeah.
He's 6'1". I'm starting to get proud again.
Your kid is 14 and he's 6'5"?
Yeah. You've seen pictures.
I
You're friends with him on Facebook.
I didn't know he was 6'5".
Well, but you have to see the apparent. But what sucks for Scott's son is that he's 6'5", but he's a kid.
Yeah.
So people assume he's an adult, right? Like people are like, why is this person acting like a child?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Mary's out in the hallway just
Is she?
flabbergasted in your face.
Hello.
She's gawking at you like you're
How are you?
a fish in an aquarium.
Oh, Jesus.
Scott's got a big Band-Aid on his
Horribly
lip.
Just had a little
disfigured
incident
man.
yesterday. Yeah, we're good.
So
Good to
Scott's
go.
got a big. You'll see it on TV. So I'm not telling any tales out of school, but Scott's got a big Band-Aid on his lip. He had some stitches.
I had a hair lip.
He's finally getting it worked out.
My hair lip got all infected. I had this massive boil inside my nose that I squirted, and it just leaked down and it got on my lip. I had to cut. It's a paper cut on my lip that got
Exactly
infected.
right.
It blew up at the antique store.
It
when
took
he was...
it took about
Rub that on his face, and this is what happens.
We got a pint and a half of pus out of that sucker, so
nice.
we're good to go today.
That's the dream for you, right? You're a big pimple popper guy.
I watch Pimple Popper all the time. I actually during the show get the pimples up, pimple popping videos to show Tyler, who almost gags back there.
Really?
How does he react to that? Does he like
Tyler,
that?
do I send you TikToks? My favorite TikTok ones?
Yeah, and he doesn't like them.
No.
Do you ever get the ones like behind the ear? You see those? They're good.
I don't watch Dr. Pimple Popper, but all of the females I know are big fans of acne. They're big fans of popping zits. Like it's a very female thing.
Yeah, it's a very big thing.
Yeah, when I had that ingrown hair, that was very sexy.
Right.
Like there were women that would request. That women never contact me, and there were women that were actually requesting.
That's right. For all the
do it.
male fetishes that there are that females make fun of, that's the one female one.
Yeah.
You guys are nuts.
We got to talk about this too. And I heard you talking about the Bee Gees on the way in.
Yeah.
On one of our flights, I think it was the Germany flight. We had very limited movies and documentaries.
Yeah.
There was one on the Bee Gees that I watched.
I saw it.
In the entire movie, from when they were kids through adulthood, and I think it's Maurice that tells the whole story at the end because he's the last one left.
That's right, the ugly one, the really ugly thin one.
How were the other ones so ugly? And it's like the other one just with Andy. Was it Andy?
Andy.
Yeah. Andy got all the looks.
Yeah. Andy was this beautiful man.
Yeah.
And and Barry was just a hirsute fella.
Imagine if he you can tell by the way I do this, and they're not walking together in the video. How weird that video would look with the other ugly ones. He elevated. It's like Brady. You elevate others around you.
There it is.
Andy Gibb elevated his brothers.
You're talking about Barry Gibb. Andy Gibb was the most beautiful, but Barry was passable looking.
Barry, who's the hunk? The hunk with the beard and just
that was Barry. But Andy was the fourth brother.
Right. Yeah.
Google Andy Gibb.
Yeah.
He's a beautiful man. Or he
All
was.
right.
Take it too soon.
Meet Phil McCarthy next.
All right.
There it is.
And he's got a Red Sox hat on today, so he's getting ready. I'm going to burn
ready
this.
to go.
I'm going to burn this mother effer. This thing's going down. I'm throwing it in the trash. First thing.
That's at 1:30. Tune in.
Yeah, 1:30. I throw this thing in the trash.
Right.
It's garbage, hot garbage. And then I light the trash on fire and
Dan
spit in
Roach.
it.
Dan Roach tomorrow.
Danny Roach is in tomorrow and the next day, so look forward to that.